Just to, I was there in the previous session. I spent 5 years in Europe and then came back. And I'm living here in this our own country to see how can I learn what I ever learned. And just to tell something to Biswanath, I spent 6 days, 6 times I traveled to US a year. And not the reverse. So I'm really, very happy to be here. And I always like to introduce one thing as part of my introduction, the Reva car, which you all must have seen and heard about. I got an opportunity along with my team to work on that car. And, it's one of the Internet of Things piece in this country, an electric car. And when our Honorable Prime Minister went to see the Tesla labs, I sent an email to him saying that come to the lithium factory. We also develop such kind of batteries in India. And the kind of technology which currently the world is using, we have some forms of it in India. And we are trying to develop for India in India. So I just want to give you a bit of introduction about our organization. Aries is a Santa Clara based technology company. We are an MVNO. And I'm not the owner of that company. I'm representing that company in India. Okay. So as an MVNO, and I'm assuming you must be knowing what an MVNO is, we are, unlike in India, the US allowed multiple parents for an operator. So we have AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile and Sprint, all three as our parents. So the Aries SIM, which gets into a machine, can, as an IP of ours, can take any of the network, which is the best network available in a particular location. Okay. So if a car is moving or if any of the vehicle or machine is moving, it will switch to the best network available and, provide the best connectivity to the machine. And that's how, we started. So we are a connectivity provider. And if I get into the story, so we were a connectivity provider only to machines. Okay. So my machine didn't have a name. My machine didn't have a plan which they can choose. And my machine never had an address. So we decided to see how can I create a complete operation and a business stack. How will I build them? How will I take care of the machine? How will I do certain things with the machine? What is the billing and rating plan? And we created a complete stack for them. And then my customers started asking. So it is starting from 2006, 2007 time frame. So my customers started asking that I am buying thousands and hundred thousands of SIMs from you. And it is getting into as an embedded SIM into a car or a medical device or something else. So if I want to change the plan, if I want to change the owner, how will I do it? So we created a connectivity management platform, a SIM management platform for them, it's a portal which we provide to the customer. Then they started coming to us and saying if the device goes wrong or the connectivity goes wrong or the SIM goes wrong or the battery goes down, how will we identify what the problem is with the device? Can you do it? And we created a device management platform. Then we started getting all the data from the sensors and using the cloud, we call it air cloud of our own. And we started getting all the sensor data coming from all the machines and we started using some data management things. Then we allowed, our customer said, how can I create a picture out of it? How can I have a solution developed or application from the huge amount of terabytes of data that is coming every day, every minute to me? Okay. We provided them the application development platform. And then they came and asked us, can we do some analytics? And we gave them an analytical platform. As a result, from connectivity to connectivity management, to billing and rating for a machine, to a device management, to a cloud for data, and then the application management and the analytics, we realized that we have an end-to-end IoT stack, and from a connectivity provider, we become an IoT company. And that's how the journey began. So today, as on today, we have 10 million plus devices connected on our network. We have, as on today, 1.5 billion messages coming every day on our network, and we are running on 190 countries. So my SIM works in 190 countries. So this is where we are. So when we thought, we can enable telecom operators to run their Internet of Things solutions because we are an operator and we can enable them to run that. But we also realized that the large enterprises also need it and we can also provide it to the developers so that they can create solutions on their own. While at that time I was working on Reva, I wrote a book along with Bosch on enterprise IoT, and these people found me. And simultaneously something was happening, that I got interviewed by a French company which was trying to deploy a garbage management solution in Delhi. Okay, and they said, Dr. Bhatnagar, can we interview it? And I just want to share with you, because that was one of the reasons why this company came to India. And they asked me how the garbage get managed in our house. And I'm sure, most of you must be having a similar kind of situation. A person comes to our house and he collects a bag, and my wife opens the door, gives the bag to him. And he has a cart, a cycle rickshaw, and he opens the cart, do the recyclable things, other things, segregate the garbage in front of us and goes. That's how my garbage gets managed. Okay. You know how much do we pay him? And many of us must be saying, giving them a similar price, less than $2 a month. Okay. The French solution was supposed to have big garbage bins somewhere outside my locality, where me or my wife will have to segregate the garbage ourselves, put them into different bins, and then pay them $10 a month. So it's neither convenient nor cost effective, and it will create more problem at home rather than creating a solution for me. And for a country like India, where there is a huge amount of jobs which are only for the garbage management, will be making people lose their jobs. And that was a thought that the problems of the West are aging population, high cost of labor, and many others, and which is absolutely reversed in our country. That means we have to make in India for India. And that was the reason why the technology company had to come to India to start understanding the challenges which we have faced here and start developing solutions for us. I have been here since last 10 months. And secondly, while we have to make in India, the Digital India initiative, and I personally say that kind of thrust the current government has provided, has been substantial and has been really attracting the countries and the companies outside India to come and work here. So the kind of data, $1 trillion kind of GDP boost that can happen by 2025 because of Internet of Things, and those kind of things which really helping the companies like ours to come to India. So when we started, and we all know the paradigm shift, the Digital India mission, the smart cities, and the startups which are growing in India and the kind of facilities that the country is giving. Before I get into the next slide, I just want to say, one more point. We are the first revolution, and I say, what is a revolution? Revolution is something which changes the society, which changes the technology, which changes the business models. Okay, then we call it a revolution. So, the revolution, the first time the mankind came on the earth was around 11,000 BC, 9,000 BC, so approximately 11,000 years. Okay, but the first revolution took place in 1850s when the industries arrived, and that was an industrial revolution. So the charkha, the productivity improved through the factory. But that was a time when we were ruled by a country. So they were not preparing us for that revolution. They didn't tell those charkha guys that the factory is coming in London and you will lose your job. So starts reskilling. It was not that they didn't survive. They reskilled themselves, they came into a different kind of jobs, and they did it. The second revolution came around 150 years after, which was a communication revolution or the mobile revolution or the internet revolution. We were an independent country. We had the government of our own. But what happened? The smart brains and people who could afford, they went to United States, created Twitter, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and many other companies. But we did prepare ourselves, we skilled ourselves, and the whole IT outsourcing, which is one of the biggest industry in India, is an outcome of the second revolution. Now we are going to the third revolution. Okay, where the technologies are merging and the new cloud computing and Internet of Things is coming. We are going through the society change, we are going through the business model changes. GE sells their engine as a service. Philips sells their MRI machines as a service. rather than a machine. So the business models are changing, the society is changing, and this is the time when our government is really putting a lot of infrastructure to see how can we utilize this time and create Googles, Twitters and Facebooks in India, and the startup and all those things are really helping us. So while this is the third revolution going, in India, while there can be number of adopters, there are many which is using this, and with the smart cities and many things which is coming up. Now coming back to my thought that US and Europe has a different kind of challenge, ours are different. When we think about the healthcare sector, and I like to take this example, if the largest enterprise of a country, which is the government, okay, the largest enterprise of a country, which is the government, wants to provide services to their customers called citizens, okay, then they are supposed to do certain steps. For a country with 1.3 billion people, where 70% of the people live in the rural area, whereas this 80% of the paramedical trained staff lives in the urban area. If you really want to provide healthcare services, the only way is the adoption of the technology. Otherwise, you need 1.4 million doctors and 3.5 million nurses and paramedical staff to provide healthcare services, which might not be cost effective and not possible. So for our country, we have a different need, and that's why the IoT becomes very important for us. While we all know that this is going to create a lot of, improvement and everything, there are certain roadblocks, and I'll speak about these roadblocks and then I come to the 5G. First thing is the cost effectiveness. We are a very, very cost sensitive market, and people like to, when we thought about Reva car, we were not able to sell even a single one because the price was 6.5 lakhs, and at 6.5 lakhs, a person could have bought a Santro or a much better car, which could have seated many people and could have drove number. So nobody was looking for technology. People were looking for not a green car, but looking for I can accommodate 5 people and I can drive for a longer time. Okay. So the cost sensitivity is very important for us, and if we are not able to handle for at a price point India needs, things will not work. Okay. So we need to see how the innovation can come and so that we can get at a price point where we can handle things. I keep on giving this example. This happens in Uttar Pradesh. I've seen it happening, and somebody told me it happens in Punjab also. And I think, in our southern part of the country is also, people must be doing it. There is a thing called jugaad. I don't know whether you understand this word or not, but there is a diesel generator set. The farmers in Uttar Pradesh, they use that diesel generator set in the morning 2 hours and the evening 2 hours for irrigation. So they take the water out and put it into the farms. From 10 a.m. till 7 p.m., they use it as a transportation thing. So they put a rickshaw and they'll start driving it, and they load people into it, and they pay 10 rupees for putting you from one place to the other. And in the night, the same diesel generator set works for generating electricity for their house. So the same vehicle, same machine, I'm not sure whether this machine was built for all these three or not. And the person who built this machine was thinking in these lines. But the same diesel generator set works as a transportation equipment, for an irrigation thing, and for the electricity generator in many of the villages throughout the country. And that's the kind of innovation and things the people can bring. And many times, I sometimes laugh on this, that we call our farmers unskilled labor. We call our farmers the unskilled labor, where he has been able to use the same generator set for 3 different things. And so the first thing is the cost sensitivity, then the security and privacy, the right skill set, cultural mindset, interoperability, shorter battery life, regulatory requirements and limitation, and the standards. I just want to give you one example, and then I move to the next slide. If a driverless car hits somebody, who will get challaned? Okay? We don't have an answer right now. Okay? Because our legal framework, our regulatory people have not even thought of such kind of use cases. We are getting into a different world where the garbage bin will send a signal that I am 70% full, come and collect me. And there will be connected car, there will be autonomous vehicles. So we are getting into a different world altogether, and we need to start thinking about what will be the legal and regulatory framework. While legal and regulatory framework is a different topic and some other experts will be working on it, but on the technology side, with the high traffic volume, with the connected devices and n number of use cases that are coming up, we believe that 5G can be a way that can provide some solutions to the kind of problem. Yeah, and what is the definition of our 5G? Still not correctly identified. We are still working on it. What is the exact definition of 5G? But the service levels, extremely reliable, near universal coverage, and as you know, from the optical fiber to the last mile of wireless, this is the convergence of wired and wireless is what we are targeting towards. So no doubt, this is something, the 1 to 10 Gbps, 1 millisecond latency, these are the kind of things which Professor Sir has already spoken about. On a technology, 1,000 times higher mobile data, and these are the kind of things lower, and the most important is the battery life. We were trying to implement a parking solution, and the battery was supposed to be changed after every 2 years. So that's not the solution that will work. At least in India, it won't work. We need something that can last for 10 years or 20 years. Otherwise, you will have to dig the parking lot every time and open it and put it again. So, we have to have come out with this kind of things. So, with the kind of the service requirement, the bandwidth requirement, when you get into the augmented reality, the autonomous driving, the kind of virtual reality, the wireless cloud-based offices, you need 5G. And that's where we are. I have personally, the 4G will remain significant. That's what our prediction is. But the 5G is where the world is going to be. While 2020, we are looking for this. And there are a number of, the 5G requirements which are happening. I had a meeting with the Department of Telecommunication, and it looks the kind of, the time the country took for 2G and 3G, we will be leapfrogging, and we will be in a position to get the 5G much faster, and that's what the thoughts are. While I like to end there's a complete plan and the ITU timelines for detailed implementation. So by 2020, we are looking for some specification. So, when I started this organization in India as an IoT company, I went to this Ministry of Social Welfare, and we said we are going to give this technology free for social welfare. There are 2 projects which we are doing, because it's not only technology for money, and how the technology can reach the masses is what is required. So there are 2 projects which we are doing, one with the Art of Living, C. Ravi Shankar ji, on rejuvenating and reviving rivers in India. Okay, so how the sensor technology and how that remote sensor monitoring can help in reviving the rivers in India. I won't say that we are doing really a lot of things, but the revival of 4.5 kilometers of river in Latur is something which we were part of as a technology. Okay. And the second thing which we are doing right now, which my colleague here is also doing very closely monitoring it, is the government of India provides huge number of things to the disabled people or Divyangs. So one of the thing is the wheelchair, but whether they are still using it or they have sold it somewhere and eaten food, nobody knows. So we monitor cars, we monitor trucks. Can we provide a low-cost device which can have a panic button and which can have a device, where the people can go? That's currently going on as a pilot. Okay, and we are trying to see how can we utilize the Internet of Things, not only for revenue generation, but how to provide a better life for people. Thank you very much.